Welcome back to another edition of the Educational AD Podcast, brought to you by Violet Defense. Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement existing products or you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of the technology for your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and experience you need. Thanks again to Violet Defense for sponsoring the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to thank our other great FIAAA sponsors, starting with our two diamond sponsors, including Varsity Brands, featuring BSN, Varsity Spirit, and Herff Jones. Varsity Brands, elevating student experiences in sport, spirit, and achievement. Our other diamond sponsor is Hometown Ticketing. Hometown Ticketing helps thousands of schools across the country seamlessly provide convenient digital ticketing options for their communities, families, and fans. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to thank our platinum sponsors, including Gipper, sports graphics made incredibly simple. Vital Signs, bring student achievements to life. Camp Mobile, where leaders communicate better. Ephesus Lighting, innovating a brighter future at every level. And Booster Digital Displays, revolutionize your game day experience. Thanks to all of our great FIAAA sponsors. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast, brought to you by Violet Defense. We're going pro today as we visit with Rex Desvaristes. He's a longtime athletic director here in the state of Florida, but he recently took a brand new position in community relations and youth football with the Cleveland Browns. Rex, welcome to the podcast.
Jake, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and excited to spend some time with you today. Thank you.
Well, we were talking a little bit before we came on. Certainly, it's an exciting time for you making the big move from the Tampa St. Pete area up to Cleveland and going to work for an NFL franchise. So let's just jump right into it. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you went to school, sports background, and how that led you to a position in athletics and also, your position with Cleveland.
Awesome. So I'm originally from Naples, Florida, born and raised in Naples, Florida, 2 hours away from Tampa. Then I got my basically was raised there for about 17 years. Then I got my undergrad at Liberty University, went to Liberty University, graduated with my undergrad in interdisciplinary studies and a sports management minor. From there, I decided that, I was wondering, okay, what can I possibly do? My family my dad's a pastor, and my mom's the first lady at our church. My sisters and I have 5 sisters. I'm the only boy. They're all in the medical field. So when I was going through school, I wanted to get in the medical field. That was my number one goal, right? I played sports in high school. I played football. I played a little bit of basketball, and I ran track and field. But going into college, I decided to stay closer to my mom because she was fighting cancer. She had a cancer called multiple myeloma. So she was fighting that all while I was finishing up my senior year in high school. So I decided to just go to college and pursue my dreams in terms of getting into the athletics sector. While I was at Liberty, my main goal was to get into like strength and conditioning and sports performance. So I decided, hey, I'm going to pursue that and pursue it all the way through. Right. Then I got an opportunity to work at Syracuse University. Worked at Syracuse University in their sports performance and their strength and conditioning side for about close to a year. Was there and was there for a short period of time. Learned a lot. Dino Babers was the coach at the time, and learned a lot, and it gave me an opportunity to grow. From there, I built solid relationships while I was in college, and I got an opportunity to work with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And with the Buccaneers, I worked in their community relations department, in their street team. So basically, with that, we worked a lot of different, like, holistic events. So we did a lot of community events, player events. Did a lot of game day activation stuff right before the games, just to get the community involved, and learn more about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I did that for a little bit, and dabbled with that, all while, because it was a part-time position while in Tampa, but I also got a lot of, like, coaching experience there. So I got an opportunity to coach high school football, varsity football at Gaither High School, for a short period of time, and had met some great people. Titus O'Neil was a big factor into my growth and my development in the Tampa Bay area. He gave me an opportunity, connected me with, like, the Jason Stokes and with Gaither High School. So I worked at the high school all while working with the Buccaneers for about 2 years, right? 2 years. And I said, hey, I definitely want to kind of expand my brand. I met a lot of people, grew in the athletic space and the athletic sector, and definitely, like, developed, the skills that I needed to. So then, I said, what, I wanted to get that leadership experience. So I decided to pursue athletics, and I got a great opportunity to become the director of athletics at Bishop McLaughlin Catholic High School. I was the AD there for about two and a half years. Before I got there, it's a small private school in Spring Hill. It was historically only had one winning season in athletics, and but it was an opportunity for me to thrive, an opportunity for me to take my talents to the next level. Once I got to Bishop, my first year there, it was a learning lesson, right? As a new AD coming in, learn the lay of the land, you got to evaluate, right? You got to see, what the student athletes want and what the constituents want in that space. And that's exactly what I did. So my second year, I made a lot of changes. Hired Kenny Stills, hired Derek Sharp in basketball, hired Casey White in soccer. So Kenny played in the NFL. His son Kenny Stills played for the Houston Texans. Derek Sharp played professionally. He played in Israel, and he also was a star at USF. And then Casey White was a national U.S. national team member from the U.S. national team. So all three of them great hires, but bought into my vision to have a professional setting in the high school sector, and grow that program. And that's what we did. We went to a state championship as an independent in football. We went to a state championship in boys basketball. In volleyball, we went to the state Final Four. So I had a lot of success in a short period of time there, and was excited. But I definitely wanted the next challenge, right? The challenge to grow, the challenge to develop, and that's what I did. I got an opportunity with a great leader in Daryl Taylor, who gave me an opportunity to come up to Cleveland and buy into his vision to expand youth football in the Cleveland area. And now I'm here. I'm here in Cleveland and aligning with the vision of what the Browns want us to do and to grow the youth football program here. So I'm excited about it.
Wow, what a great story, and kind of a whirlwind too. But I think you hit on a couple of key things. You've had a lot of stops, but you've made some connections. You built relationships, and then your time at Bishop McLaughlin, you certainly hit on one of the key aspects for any AD is hiring good people, and the results are speak for themselves. Tremendously successful programs in just a short period of time. So it's got to be exciting.
Thank you.
Rex, one of the things that we ask our ADs in our profession, we always talk about the importance of leadership and particularly mentorship. So I'm curious, who were some of your mentors growing up, either coaches or maybe family members or maybe people that you've worked with or worked for? The expression I always use is I still hear those voices in my head when I'm talking to a kid or a coach or a parent. So do you have any voices that you still hear?
Oh yeah, of course. First, it starts with my family. I'm very, very close with my family and my sisters and my mom and dad. So we're very a tight knit group. So their voices I hear all the time, right? And then my one of my main mentors is my cousin. His name is Moses Plancher. He played football at USF when they got to number 2 in the country. So he's been, a big, ear in mine in terms of family wise. Professionally, it starts with, the person who gave me an opportunity. Titus O'Neil gave me my first opportunity to get into coaching. Then, I coached with Derek Brooks. So role models and seeing those men in the space in the industry, especially in our area, was definitely big for me. And then, had a lot of mentors, throughout the community when I was at, Bishop, Chris Naco, the sheriff of Pasco County. He was a big cog and a lot of different ADs that I've been following so far and seeing what they're doing. But those and Larry King Jr. He was one of those guys when I was in my transition phase who had my ear. So a lot of guys who impacted my life in many different ways.
Yeah. Again, it's always great to hear about the people that have touched your lives. It's a great reminder that none of us got here on our own. Rex, you've had a chance to see some different programs, at the Division I level, the professional level, and even your own program that you built at Bishop McLaughlin. And so my next question asks about best practices. What are some organizational things or personnel things that you've seen in your time and your stops that really stick out for you? Maybe even brag a little bit about an initiative you might have brought to Bishop McLaughlin. What's some of those best practices that you look at and you say, boy, this is really, really good?
Yeah, for sure. I tell a lot of people, when you come into an organization, it's first, you having a vision, right? Having a vision for your programs and being innovative, right? So I came in with fresh ideas and innovation, and my focus was the student athlete experience. That was my biggest thing. Is a lot of times when we get into athletics, we get into it for different reasons, right? But my main focus was how can I get the students to buy into the culture that I'm trying to do as an AD, and that's what we did. So we created some excitement with hiring. We implemented a lot of different themes for our games, for our sporting events. Like for instance, we had food trucks at our baseball games, right? We never had that before. We were able to, during our fall banquet, my first year, we had Mike Ditka talk to our student athletes. We also had Bill Curry talk to our student athletes. So trying to really build that excitement, but get connect with the student athletes was important to me and getting that excitement. So I tell a lot of people coming in and be innovative, connect with your student athletes, see what they like to do, and then from there, and build your program. So I did a lot of different things, but innovation was the key.
Boy, great stuff. I love the theme ideas too. For our listeners, we're visiting with Rex Desvaristes, formerly the athletic director at Bishop McLaughlin in the Tampa area, and just recently a new employee of the Cleveland Browns in their community relations youth football program. We're going to continue our interview, but we want to hear first from our podcast sponsor, Violet Defense. Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement existing products or you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of their technology for your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and experience you need. Thanks again to Violet Defense for sponsoring the Educational AD Podcast. We're back with our interview featuring Rex Desvaristes, formerly the athletic director at Bishop McLaughlin and newly hired with the Cleveland Browns. Rex, we just got through a year here in Florida and in the country of having to deal with the effects of COVID and the safety protocols. And in Florida, it looks like we may be gradually moving back to normal. Have you been in Cleveland long enough to notice, any differences from Florida or anything specific that the Browns might be doing at their facility?
It's been a short period of time. I've been in Cleveland now. The biggest thing in Florida, we were open, right? The governor kind of gave us the green light in Florida. In Ohio, I've noticed, just some little things. We still have to wear our mask, and it's still kind of, they're still transitioning to where we were fully. They're there now, but they're still like the slow progression. But that's the biggest thing. Everything is now it's the same. Now we're still working at First Energy Stadium, so they told me, we're going to go back to our Berea location. So right now we're just kind of like just adjusting, but overall it's been the same. It's been the same for us, and yeah.
Well, we hope, for you and the organization and the players that, no positive tests and everybody's got a full roster this fall.
For sure, for sure. I did get the vaccine, so I'm vaccinated, and just having that, and now feeling that sense of normalcy is important, especially in our area.
No, absolutely. I got both my doses about a month ago, and it's something that you need to do to be a responsible citizen.
Exactly.
Rex, next question we've been asking our athletic directors. For our listeners, we're recording this on July 1st. So we're right on the 1-year anniversary of, the podcast. Rex, this next question has to do with social awareness or social justice, if you will. And my question to athletic directors has been this: what are some things that we can do in our position to do a better job of being socially aware, of servicing, everyone in our, community? What's your take on that?
That's a subject very dear to my heart, especially, me being, an African-American, a young African-American, AD, former AD. And, I tell a lot of, different people, you just got to have a listening ear, right? Understanding, what's going on in our world. It's a very sensitive topic, but, at the end of the day, we got to be able to be the pioneers of the future and change in the future. And I definitely think, and listening, being able to listen to what's going on, hear it out, hear the sensitive topics that are going on, but try to implement and empathize with everybody, and I think that's the biggest thing. And for me, as an African American, continue striving for greatness, so to say, and so the young people can see that, and our future so we can have a better future. So it starts with us, people like me, to continue that that strand of accountability and leadership, so we can be the pioneers for our future generation. So empathizing with our peers and listening to our peers is important, but also for me, continue doing what I'm doing so the next generation can, so I could steer a path for the next generation.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And again, you're going to have an opportunity to do that on a broader level, community, rather than just, focusing on one school. We'll lighten things up here a little bit. I always ask the athletic directors, what's your favorite part of the job? And so, you can maybe approach this from, what got you excited about going to work each day at Bishop McLaughlin, or even both. What are you excited about with your new position with the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, no. So as an AD, what excites me about every position I take is the impact I can make on each individual's lives, right? Like that's something for me that's very, very dear to my heart and very important. So I like to make an impact. I love to do that. So that's big for me. As an AD though, but you spend a lot of hours, right? Like you spend a lot of hours, working, and especially being at a small school, trying to build up the school, right? You're working from, I came in sometimes at 6 a.m., wouldn't leave till 11 p.m. So, you're working a lot of different hours, and having to be at different events with different sports could definitely stretch you a little thin. That's one thing that, I don't miss a little bit. it's it's part of the job, right? I definitely enjoy that aspect of it. But in the professional level, we're able to be just a little bit more flexible with some time, and I think, going into it, because I was building a product, right? So I had to spend a lot more time in terms of in the building, out the building. That's one thing that I'm actually enjoying, getting a little bit of rest now, and not really rest, but a little bit of flexibility now. But yeah, so definitely the pros is just the impact you can make on people's life, and even in youth football and community relations, we do the same thing, and it's just making an impact. And then as an AD, it's seeing your student athletes, like the smiles on their faces, when they get a chance to graduate, right? When you see your student athletes walk across the stage, it feels very good. So, having those aspects and seeing our student athletes successful as an AD made my job the best, and making a difference and an impact in their lives was enjoyable for me.
Oh, great stuff. Okay. Well, Rex, this has been cool chatting with you, getting to know you a little bit, but we're not done yet.
Awesome.
We always like to wrap up with what we call the new athletic director's toolbox. Now, you're certainly an experienced AD, a successful AD, but I'm going to challenge you right now to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. What 3 items are going to go in Rex Desvaristes' athletic director toolbox?
Wow. Good question. That's a good one. The first one, I think the first thing for any new athletic director is really truly understanding the position. And when I say understanding the position is, knowing what you're getting into. So in your toolbox, having, the background of what organization that you want to come in. That's the number one thing is having that your foundation, your vision, and where do you want to see your program going, and a little bit about the program. That's the number one thing. The number 2 thing is, I believe it starts with, having a good base of coaches, right? Having, being able to bring people around you that are going to be able to make an impact in your organization, because as an AD, you're seeing the big, scope of the athletic department. So in order for you to get out and do what you got to do, you got to be able to hire great coaches. So having a network of really good coaches that, because you're either the coaches that are in place or the new coaches that you got to bring in, I think that's an important piece too. And then I think number 3 toolkit is having a good relationship with your student athletes, your staff, your community. I think that's important, because it gives you a sense of confidence. So being able to go into an organization and having those type of relationships definitely help you. So really, having all 3 of those aspects in your position, especially being brand new, I definitely think it can make your transition a lot smoother. So, to recap, on what I said, right? The first thing is having that foundation, all right, and knowing your organization. The second thing is getting good coaches, right? Hiring the right people so you can have the flexibility you need. And the third thing is having a relationship with the community and your student athletes and staff. And I think those are the 3 things that, if you're a new AD and you can hit on those 3 things, you'll definitely thrive.
Great advice. I'm sure you noticed me scribbling all those down.
Yeah.
All 3 of those appear in our toolbox top 20. So well
awesome.
done. Okay.
Okay. Appreciate it. I hit the top 20. I didn't even know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Rex, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, no, they can reach out to me via email. They can reach out to my personal email. It's rex.devaristes@gmail.com. Okay. rex.devaristes@gmail.com. I'd love to, give my information and my feedback to anybody that, that needs it. And any new ADs or any current ADs who need innovative ideas or different thoughts, I'm definitely open to it.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and spell that Desvaristes out. It's Desvaristes. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Rex, all the best moving forward. I've been a Steelers fan since I was a kid, so
Yeah.
it's going to be tough for me to root for Cleveland unless they're not playing the Steelers there. But
Yeah.
certainly all the best to you moving forward.
No, thank you so much, and I'm sorry that you're a Steelers fan. It's funny. I was in Pittsburgh last week, and last week I was in Pittsburgh. One of my best friends is the assistant strength coach, and it was kind of like that same type of awkwardness. But it's okay. You can be a Steelers fan, Jake. I appreciate you, and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Definitely our pleasure. For listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of these interviews are being uploaded to the FIAAA Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Thanks for listening today. Come back again next time for another episode of the Educational AD.